Hello everybody, PsyStarcraft here, and this is Duels of the Planeswalkers 2014. That's right, this is Magic the Gathering, people. And if you don't like it, then get the fuck out, because this game is actually really awesome. I've always been a fan of card games. You know, I played Pokemon when I was a little boy. I moved on to Magic. Actually, I started out with Magic, then I moved on to Pokemon when I was a little girl. And then as I grew up, I kind of got back into Magic, not so much the physical form, but like online and, you know, playing games like this, it's a lot of fun. So I hope you guys, if you haven't played Magic, you try to, you know, look into it and kind of watch what I'm doing and see why it might be fun, why it's a fun game to play and stuff like that. And if you have played Magic, watch my awesome blue-red sealed deck. This is a sealed deck. That means you get random booster packs to build a deck out of. You do not choose the cards yourself. You just are given a pool of cards and then you make a deck out of them. So the whole nature of this blue-red deck, that's a good draw, is to control the game, control my opponents. Basically, I want to have a lot of removal, I want to have a lot of card draw, a lot of card advantage, and I want to be able to drop some bombs eventually, which you can see this Inferno Titan right here. But the whole objective of Magic is to get your opponent down to 0 life from 20, as you can see here. You can do that in a variety of ways. You can play spells that do damage, 2 damage to target creature or player. Or you can play creatures that have power and toughness and stay on the board until they're killed one way or another. So, looks like I do have 2 options here. I have 4 mana up. I can play the Archaeomancer or I can play the Phantasmal Dragon. You don't really want to shoot a bunch of stuff at your opponent's face because that just wastes the card. You don't get a lot of card advantage out of that. You want to try to make the most of your cards now. Phantasmal Dragons are usually a pretty good bet for a 4-drop. And he's going to be Essence Scattering that, which is fine. This dragon doesn't last too long anyway. Because if it is targeted by any spell or ability, whether it's a creature, a player's spell, even my own spells, it will be killed. So for him to waste a counter spell on it isn't that bad. Maybe he didn't have any other options, but if he's not dealt with, he actually does a lot of damage. 5/5 is a lot of damage for a flying creature. He's going to be going with an Archaeomancer, so I need to keep in mind that he now has an Essence Scatter in his hand. Archaeomancer allows you to return an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So I don't want to be playing any of my bombs like the Inferno Titan when I know he has that out. So my next play is going to be the Archaeomancer. Remember, I do have Divination in my graveyard. And I'm kind of speaking very fast, so it's mainly geared towards you who I guess have played the game before. But the Archaeomancer is going to let me get my Divination back. I'll have 1 mana up for Shock. I don't want to shock this measly 1/2 creature he has out. The real effectiveness of this creature is when it comes into play. He gets an extra card. But I already have a blocker anyway, so if he plays something that might be threatening to me, then I want to play the Shock. And remember, I'm going to have 6 mana next turn for my Inferno Titan, but I don't want to play it when he has Islands up, because he'll be able to counterspell it, which is what that Essence Scatter was that you saw. So I'm going to hold off on that for a bit, depending on what he decides to play. And he's going to go with the Archangel of Thune. Pretty decent card, a little bit underwhelming as a mythic rare. But that does free me up to play my Inferno Titan. Unfortunately, Inferno Titan, when it comes into play, I deal 3 damage distributed as I choose. I can't quite kill the Archangel, and I'll be tapped out, so I can't shock it to death. But I think I'll just do 2 damage to the Archaeomancer and just do 1 damage to his face. And then if he lets my Inferno Titan live next turn, I can attack, do 3 more damage, and shock. I could always switcheroo as well. I could switcheroo my Archaeomancer, keep up shock for his Angel of Thune. But then he might have mana untapped next turn to play his counterspell on my Inferno Titan. So I think I do want to switcheroo. I think that's a safer play here. Just to get his big creature out of the board. Maybe he'll waste some kind of removal on this Angel. Obviously, I don't care about losing this guy. He's just a worthless 1/2. Whereas this bitch, man, she can put a hurting on, and I still have mana up for Shock. So if I do draw a Mountain, and he doesn't have mana to counterspell my Inferno Titan, then if he plays another bomb, I can do 3 damage. Looks like he's just going to go for Mind Spring. Going to try to draw some cards. And this is basically telling me, okay, he doesn't have a lot of great 5-drops to play right now. He really wants to go for the long game, so I'm just going to try to throw everything at his face that I can. I'm going to get this Inferno Titan down, obviously. I'm going to shoot him for 3 with the Inferno Titan, just because I'm not too worried about these guys. Yes, they can block the Inferno Titan, but I can always just... oh, that's a good draw. Maybe I do want to go for this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do... I'm going to go ahead and play this, the Mountain, so I can play my Inferno Titan as well as keep Shock up First, I'm going to play my Titan. Now, normally you want to attack first to see what your opponent does, but in this case, when she gains life, or when she anything gains life, you get to put counters on your creatures. So I'm going to go ahead and play this guy first, and so my Titan will get some of the counters that she creates. And I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, at this point if he just quit the game, because I've got a pretty scary board happening. I've got a lot of card draw potential in my hand. He knows I have a divination, and I just killed one of his creatures, did 1 damage to him. I'm going to be doing 3 more damage, assuming he doesn't unsummon or something like that, and giving both of my creatures a +1 counter. So it looks like he's going to be letting that through. He has a lot of cards, but I've got some card drawing potential. Even in my deck, I have a little bit more drawing potential. And I've got 2 huge threats on the board. I can always use a shock to stop any, phantasmal dragons he might have. Maybe some, any creatures with 2 toughness. And he's just going to be taking some time to think. But the power of my deck is just, I have 2 Inferno Titans, which are just insane. And there goes the Day of Judgment. So he's got a very controlling deck himself. And that's one of the main cards that he could have played in that situation to really bring himself back into it. So at this point with that play, I'd say I'm pretty far behind. I'm definitely looking for some kind of card draw. Maybe my own Mind Spring. Maybe Scroll Thief doesn't quite cut it. But, I might get in. At this point, I basically have 2 options. I can play a Scroll Thief, try to attack and draw some cards, or a Phantasmal Dragon to go for some damage. But with 7 cards in his hand, in blue and white, there's a pretty good chance he's got some kind of spell to target my dragon. So I'm just going to try to get my Scroll Thief out there. He's going to Essence Scatter that. Forgot about that. I wanted to get my Scroll Thief out there to try to draw cards and maybe clear the way with a shock, but it's looking pretty good for him. He's got a pretty good deck. It looks like that Day of Judgment was crucial. I don't know if that's a one-of in his hand or what, but seeing him play that Mind Spring, that was definitely influenced by having a Day of Judgment in his hand. I'm not sure it would have been the safest thing to play if he didn't have that Day of Judgment in his hand. He's probably going to take that Day of Judgment back. Maybe the Mind Spring. Either one would be good. I would assume it'll be the Day of Judgment, though. Nope, he's going to take the Mind Spring. I don't know about that. He's already got a lot of cards. He's going to be drawing past 7 if he plays the Mind Spring next turn. He's leaving 3 mana up. He's probably got a lot of resources he can use in his hand. Might have a counterspell. Do I want to bait out the counterspell? I think I want to bait out the counterspell with the Phantasmal Dragon first, just because the Djinn is a stronger creature. And maybe I can get a Wish counter or 2 going in. So we're going to throw down the Phantasmal Dragon. There's the Essence Scatter. So he does have 2. Wow, he's got so many good cards in his deck. Holy cow, this guy drafted a bomb deck. Let's see what he can do against this, though. He's going to be able to do something, man. He's going to be drawing so many cards next turn. I really need to draw my own Mind Spring at this point. I don't think I have a lot of other cards that can really compete with this kind of card advantage. I am talking so fast right now. There's just so much to say about Magic. I mean, yeah, it's a slow-paced game. You're playing a card game online. It's kind of weird. It's kind of nerdy, but I don't know. I've never really been one to care about if something was nerdy or not. But it's fun, man. It really makes you think. So he's at 16 life. I'm at 23. The life totals, honestly, in Magic don't matter too much unless you're facing a very, very aggressive deck where every single life point matters. But that's kind of a whiff. This 1/3 just is not a strong creature, so it might tell me that there's the unsummon on my Djinn. And that's 2 cards that don't really scare me. He does have that Mind Spring in hand, though. That definitely scares me. Now he's going to swing for 1. I'll be at 23. How did I gain life? Oh, yeah, my Archangel. That's right. So, not in as worse shape as I thought. He did show me 2 cards that weren't amazing. And now I'm going to try to play the Djinn again. If he does counter it, that's bad. If he doesn't counter it, I'll probably go for a Wish counter. What this guy can do is he enters the battlefield with 3 counters on it. I can remove 1 for 4 mana whenever I want to try to play the top card of my library for free. So, I mean, I could play the Djinn and the Scroll Thief and leave up Shock. Or I can play the Djinn, leave up Shock, and do a Wish counter. I think I'll do that. Seems like a smarter play. And a third Essence Scatter? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'm really running out of options now. This guy's just got too many counterspells. He's got a pretty insane deck, I gotta say, man. Those counterspells, those Archaeomancers. How many does he have? 2 of those so far. I've got some Archaeomancers of myself, though. It wouldn't hurt to, I don't know, pull out another Switcheroo? No. Divination, I guess, but not looking too great. There goes the Mind Spring. I'd love to top deck a Mind Spring myself. He's only got 7 lands out. That's pretty unusual for a control deck, especially at this point in the game. 20 cards into his deck. 25 cards into his deck. He's now drawn 5 more cards than me in this game. And I really need a Mind Spring. Mind Spring. I do have one of those in my deck. I mean, an Inferno Titan or another bomb wouldn't be bad, but with the amount of cards he has, I really don't see any of those staying on the battlefield for long. And he's just going to be slowly chipping away. And this is kind of the whole idea of a control deck. He doesn't have a lot of powerful creatures out. He's just got a lot of control, a lot of counter spells, a lot of stuff to bounce my creatures back into my hand, and stuff like that. So, oops, sorry about that. Now, something I can do here is clear the board with my Shock and my Flames of Firebrand and attack in for 1 to draw a card. And, I mean, there's no reason to use these on him. He's just not low enough for that to be a good strategy. So I think I am just going to... oh shit, not if I fucking go back into combat. Well, what I wanted to do, but I messed up on my button, was clear the way for my Scroll Thief, but now I just kind of have to pass the turn. It would have allowed me to draw a card. I'm not sure if that card would have helped or not, but we'll see. Like I said, I'm not in the greatest positions anyway. He's got 7 cards. Playing another Griffin Sentinel. A very slow, not very powerful card, but it's good in control decks. It stops a lot of those quick flyers. It can chip away at you while still remaining a defender. It's got the Vigilance ability, which allows it to remain defending. And this is just kind of a silly card to have in his deck. I'm not sure why he's got that in there. Maybe his creatures just aren't the greatest in this deck. It looks like a lot of it is just control power. The only creature I've seen is Archangel of Thune, and that's just not the most threatening card in the world. But I did draw an Archaeomancer. I could always go for a switcheroo. I don't think I want to switch my Scroll Thief for his guy, though. I could always go for a Divination. Divination might be too slow, though. He's actually got a lot of power out on the field right now. But I think I will go with the Divination, so let's not press the wrong button this time. There we go. Let's do that. Gonna grab that Divination, draw some cards. That'll still have some mana for Shock and Flames of the Firebrand. So I think I've seen most of the strength of his deck so far, to be honest. It seems like he's just got a lot of card draw, a lot of, you know, creature denial, lots of removal, but not a lot of strength in his creatures himself. And that's kind of, that would be a good card if he didn't have all flyers. And that's kind of the nature of these sort of drafts. You're not going to be just having all-around kick-ass deck. You're going to have some weaknesses, and clearly his deck's weakness is the power of his creatures, whereas mine is a little bit less controlling, a little bit less card draw, it seems. But I do have some very, very powerful creatures in my deck. So now he's going to be putting those boots onto this Gargoyle, probably the Sphinx, unless he has a new creature to play, which he might. No, he does not. So on goes the boots onto this guy. And I still am at 20 life, so if I can top deck some good cards, somehow stabilize my board, I should be okay. But look at this, he's going to be smashing me for 6 damage. Oh, by 6 I mean 4 damage. And I'm now down to 16. This guy's got damage effects enabled. Damage effects is for noobs. 7 mana up, he's got 4 cards. Is he going to be playing anything? This is actually one of the more difficult matches. Do I want to play a Shock on anything? Probably not. I don't really... I mean, this guy's so useless. He doesn't even fly. I don't want to waste a Shock on him. Finally drawing my own Essence Scatter. I cannot switcheroo this guy because he has these boots, which give him hexproof, which means he cannot be targeted by spells and abilities that I control. I mean, I could always Firebrand. 1, 2, 3... Shock, but I still wouldn't be able to get through. I mean, I've got to play something. I can't just keep sitting here, so let me just do this. I'll Firebrand one of the Griffins to take it out. Actually, wait a second. No, I can't quite kill him. If I do... Okay, Earthquake will do 9 damage. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I can do 14 damage with these spells over the course of 2 turns. Oh, man, I'm so close to killing him. Maybe I should just try that. Maybe I should just try... Nah, let's just go for the long haul. I was going to try to just burn him with all the damage spells I had and see if it would do anything, but yeah. So, killed him. Let's go ahead and attack with the Scroll Thief and see what he blocks with. Well, that's probably not a good idea, actually. He'll just block with... I should have shocked this guy first, then he'd block... Or I should have Earthquaked him for 2. Then, if he blocks with him, I can shock him and kill him. But I really don't see this guy getting through. If he's smart, he'll just block with the Archaeomancer. He might block with both, but he might even just block with this guy. We'll see what he does. Yeah, he's just going to block with the Archaeomancer. That's a smart block. You don't want to risk this guy getting shocked or something. Whereas this guy's just kind of a freebie. Like, if he will gladly let me waste a card on this useless piece of shit. After he comes into play, you can do whatever you want with him. He just does not do a whole lot. So something else I could actually do is switcheroo my Archaeomancer for his bird, his sentinel. That would allow me to block his... Oh, that's what I should have done. Why didn't I switcheroo? Well, then he still would have had this guy to block. I can still do that. I'll switcheroo my Scroll Thief, or my Archaeomancer with his Griffin Sentinel. And then I'll be able to block this. I can shock this next turn. Maybe get in with the Scroll Thief with an Earthquake. Okay, yeah, I like that play. It's not great. You usually want to save switcheroo for stronger creatures, but in this situation, I've just got to try to make something happen. So we're going to do that. I'm leaving up mana for Essence Scatter and Shock, which is fine. I now have a blocker for his 2-3, 2-5 rather. And things aren't looking terrible. He's still got way more cards than me. If he plays another Archaeomancer, he can get his Mind Spring back. But I do have an Essence Scatter up, which is really good if he does want to play some kind of bomb. And by the rate that he's thinking, he might not have any plays to do. So if I get a good top deck, this could actually go my way. Like I said, his deck isn't very creature heavy. He doesn't have a lot of strong creatures. He just played that one creature so far, and I took that over fast, and then that forced him to use his Day of Judgment. Now if he wants to attack with this Sphinx, he's obviously got some kind of way to finish off this guy, and looks like he's not going to be attacking with the Sphinx. He's going to pass to... He's actually going to pass his turn completely. So very, very strange. Now I could Earthquake. We're both tied at 16. I could Earthquake for 10 damage. I could Shock for 2 more. That'd bring him down. I can't really do anything right now. We're kind of at a standstill right now. I really need a Mind Spring. I really need another Inferno Titan. I've got like 1 or 2 blue bombs, I think, in this deck. But he's just drawing a lot of lands. Actually, in 11 more turns, he's actually going to run out of cards. But I really doubt it'll go that way. Is he going to attack yet? Combat? Don't see any attackers. Nope, going back to his main phase. Does he have any creatures to play? I do have this Essence Scatter still. He's got a lot of just... Ooh, okay. I think I can kill him in 2 turns. Now, are there any counter spells in this set? I can kill him in 2 turns. This Geyser can do 9 damage. At the end of his turn, because it is an instant, that means it can be played whenever, as opposed to a sorcery, which can only be played on your turn, before or after combat, not during. And then I can just Earthquake him for the remainder of his life. So I think I might have this game unless he has some kind of sneaky life gain, some sneaky counter spells in his deck. But I don't think there are any normal counter spells in this deck. He might have a Redirect. That'd be scary. Redirect changes the target of a spell. So if I try to burn him and he just changes the target to me, the game's essentially over. I'll just take too much damage. But I don't know. We'll give it a shot. If he doesn't redirect my Geyser, I'm fairly positive I'll win the game. So I'm going to wait until the end of his turn. In Magic, you get to wait until... You get to play cards at the other person's phase whenever you want, as long as they're instant cards. So let me just burn him for 9 and see if it goes through. Hopefully he doesn't have a redirect or something. So we're going to target him. Is he going to play something? No, he's not. Oh, he's going to take 7 damage. And now I draw my Mind Spring. So I can Earthquake for 7 more and just kill him here. Ooh, okay, now let me think. What could he have in his hand? Do I want to Earthquake him for... I think I can Earthquake him for 9, save up mana for Shock, just in case. I think I'll just do that. So let's Earthquake for 9. Save 1 mana for Shock, and if he can't do anything about this, he's dead. Is he going to do anything? Well, there you go. And that's why that's why Magic can be a really fun game. Just situation that seems so out of your control. He drew so many more cards than me, and I was able to just draw 2 great spells that took advantage of my high amount of mana, and his creature lightness kind of bit him in the ass there. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know if you want to see more of these types of things where I play different games. But I'm going to go ahead and rematch him. You guys don't have to watch this one. But again, give me your feedback. Let me know what you want to see. I hate StarCraft. Thanks for watching.